here, and I'm very pleased to welcome you all for today's third webinar, that is Startup Entrepreneurship Seminar Series. And today we are in Business Model Canvas and Feasibility. Once again, thank you each and every one of you for being here. And my name is Safina Nas, and I have a privilege to be a part of this event, and I'm a host and the moderator for the day. And with this, before we could get started, let me just give you a little gist about this event. So as you all know, there is a man behind for every project, or there is a woman behind every project to be launched, right? So with this, I would like to thank MIA for giving us an opportunity to conduct this Startup Entrepreneurship Seminar Series. And a special thanks to a person, that is Mr. Mir Abdul Hafiz sir, who is a man behind giving the idea for us to conduct this series and help the people to empower into entrepreneurial journey. And he is a founding secretary of a Muslim Industrialist Association, and he is graduated from BMS Engineering College, Mechanical Engineering, and having a rich experience in entrepreneurial journey. And he started his firm Universal Hands with the partnership, and they are into a manufacturing of watch components, that is hands, links, braces, bracelets, and cases. And at the same time, they are the OE supplier and the key vendor to the Titan Company Limited, which is located in Hosur. And also, he's a founding secretary of MIA and the trustee for Darul Uloom Mubarakah and the Mubarakah Public School. And along with him, we have the powerhouse behind the seminar series. And we have Brother Zubair, who is the event coordinator for the entire the events that we are doing. And we have Mohammed Mas, who is the project coordinator, and he's the one who is handling all of these events for all of us. And today I'm the host for you. I'm a psychologist, coach, and entrepreneur. Okay, so as we all know, like we have completed almost 2 sessions, and this is the third session. And many of us were asking offline and online, what is this entrepreneur series is all about? So let me ask you a simple question. When you hear the word like entrepreneur, what comes to your mind? Is it like having an idea? Is it like having a business or an established business? No matter whether it is an idea, no matter whether it is a startup, no matter whether you're already an established business owner, do you all agree that having a coach for every business and every industry and every walk of life is really very important, right? Do you all agree? If you agree with this, come to the chat box and type that you agree. Yeah. So what is this entrepreneur series is all about, and why entrepreneur series is what MIA believes is engaging with a coach is a compelling along with the investors, incubators, and as well as the experts. And do you all agree? Experienced and the realistic coach draws the roadmap to achieve your goal. How many of you agree that this statement of experience and realistic coach draws a roadmap to achieve your goals? How many of you are having a roadmap to achieve your goals? If you are having a goals and you wanted to achieve, then this is the right platform. And at the same time, you don't have a goals and you are here to set up your goals, then again, this is the right platform for you to be here. Okay. And at the same time, coaching provides you a very vast, coaching provides you a very vast experience. And at the same time, coaching provides you an environment based on the experience and the confidentiality, and help you lack your awareness. And in sports, as you all know, coaching is required to improve one's game. Similarly, even in the startups, even with the entrepreneurs, and as well as the established business owners, we all must know that having a coach is really very important for us to achieve our goals, and also to make sure that our roads are very smooth. And last, to avoid all of these things and reach to the real success in the journey of entrepreneurship, we at MIA have come up with a series of a session so far and so forth. We have covered idea and design thinking, tear down of options and solutions. Now we are in the business canvas model and the feasibility. And the next question you must be having, most of you, like, what is in it for me? Why do I need to attend this session, right? So most of you are having this question also in thought. If you are having that question, then here is the answer. If you are an entrepreneur, getting a good business coach could make a difference between making it and making it great. So you need to decide, do you want to make it or do you want to making it in great? To help you make your mind, here is the advice from true entrepreneurs whom you have heard about already. The Bill Gates says of a Microsoft, everyone should have a coach. And Eric says from the Google, the best advice is I have ever got was to get a coach. So who is your coach? Do you have a coach? If you are having a coach and if you don't have a coach, then who is your coach? Then it's a time for you to realize. So with this, I would like to kickstart with the session, and I would like to invite our eminent speaker, Mr. Jilani MKHH. He is an electronic graduate and alumnus of IMB and also a Barcelona, Spain. He's a strategic planning and financial engineering expert, a thought leader specialized in the strategic planning and the financial engineering investment, banking innovations, patents, revenue, modeling innovation, patents, revenue, branding, leadership, coaching and mentoring, proficient in M&A, PE, debt, syndication, re-engineering, and new technology innovations and interventions, project management and growth for the several industry and vertical. So how many of you are excited here to learn something from Mr. MK Jilani, sir? And if you are here to learn something and stay tuned until the end, I would request you to come to the chat box and type as me. Don't you think we are all very privileged to learn from so many experts in this industry? And one among that is Mr. MK Jilani HH, who is having an experience, be it whatever it is, be it a startup, entrepreneur, or an established business, right? So with this, sir, I would like to invite you. Yes, I would like to invite you and hand over the session to you, sir. Over to you.
Thank you, Safina. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Safina, for the introduction, and thank you, MIA, for giving me an opportunity to run this webinar series on startup entrepreneurship. Assalamu alaikum, namaskar, good evening, hello, everyone, whoever are around here. And I can see a lot of people who have come for the third time, the third session. And I'm thankful to all. Though we have an IPL session going on, still we have a lot of participants who have come here. That means people are serious. We are serious to get into our startups and generate revenue. Fine. Now, I would start off with today's sessions. So today's webinar series, we have business canvas and feasibility. If I'm right, last week we had given a homework of creating a business canvas of many startups. In fact, around 15 to 20 of them have got back with the business canvas, and it's good that we are almost in a realistic manner. We are trying to move forward, planning our business. Now, there's a disclaimer and copyright of all the content and contents used, videos used. So please stay with this intellectual property right, restrain from copying. Now, today's topic is business canvas and feasibility, live real-time startup case studies. So we are from ideation to creation to implementation, incubation, and funding for startups and entrepreneurs. So the game goes on. Even after the seminar series, we have incubation and funding to move on. So a small recap of the first webinar. because I would request you, there are a lot of new folks who have joined in today from the third session. So just a recap for you guys. The first session was on ideation and design thinking. And yes, we spoke exhaustively on length about how we think and what are the thoughts which come in and what are the number of thoughts which come per hour on a daily basis. And from there, we looked into thinking differently, thinking opportunities, thinking new, and thinking value. So we had different examples on this thinking process. And further to proceed, now the ideas which come from the thought process or the thinking, we looked into the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. That's how we filter and then move ahead towards entrepreneurship. Now we looked into the design thinking. Now design thinking, it's a human-centered approach to innovation that integrates the needs of people with possibilities of technology and requirements of business success. It was design thinking is a focused, human-centered approach. That's very clear what we are looking at. Why design thinking? Why design thinking? Many new businesses fail. Starting a business or a startup is lot harder than most of us think. Very rarely business is in tune with its customers. Every month there are 3+ crores new businesses start, and less than 2 years 30% die, less than 5 years 30% die, 25% stand for 15 years and die, 15% make it more than 15 years, only 5% make it big. Why I am giving this slide again and again is, please let it get into our heads that proper business planning and analysis is the biggest game. We need to believe in 80% planning and 20% execution. Until and unless we don't give importance to planning, we cannot reach that 5% which is big. Now, yes, design thinking process, we looked into the human-centric and empathy, customer pain points. Yes, looking into the customer and we as entrepreneurs to become we. That was the focus which we looked in. Now, recap of webinar 2, options and solutions. How do we identify opportunities? We have a huge world around us. Let's keep all our senses open for observation and learning. We don't have to look out for businesses outside. We don't have to ask anyone to talk about any business so that we can start. No, opportunities are around us. What the psychology says, of a human psychology says, when you focus on problems, you will have more problems. When you focus on possibilities, you will have more opportunities. That's where the opportunities are around us. We have opportunities everywhere. You are sitting on your mobile or a table, you have opportunity in writing a book, you have opportunity in selling a furniture, you have opportunity in selling the mobile and laptops, you have opportunity in servicing the mobiles and laptops, you have electrical systems, you have audio systems, you have 101 things around in the house which you can look into business opportunities. Just try to identify what relates to you. What is the passion which you can contribute to? And what is the passion you're taking forward to get into giving value addition to the market or to the society? The genesis of opportunities is around us. We looked into how phase-wise every product has moved in over centuries, starting with telephony up to design thinking process used mobility. Now, as we move on, just look at the wristwatches, what we had earlier to now smart watches. Now, for any opportunity, success or failure, idea is 5%, execution is 95%. I repeat this, idea is 5%, execution is 95%. Because a lot of us think that an idea which is there can be executed fantastic and it can be robbed. No. An idea, until and unless it is not patented, you cannot protect it. Until and unless it is not innovation, until and unless it is not innovative and patented, you cannot protect it. That's the reason. Just look in execution, focus on execution. Now, today's webinar, we will be looking into business canvas and feasibility. Let's look at the live real-time case studies. Now, we looked into the step one, the business plan canvas. Yes, we had a huge discussion before we ended our session, a long discussion before we ended our session last week. So we will look into the details as we look into this business plan canvas. Now, the business plan canvas has key partners, key activities, value propositions, customer relationships, customer segments, channels, key resources, cost structures, and revenue streams. Let's look in a business model canvas of Swiggy. I want you to look at the key partners. The key partners are restaurants and shops, groceries, delivery providers, because they are the ones who pick up and then deliver. It's basically a logistics company or a food delivery company or a groceries delivery company. Key activities. You can see key activities of partnerships with eateries and retail shops, hiring delivery providers and suppliers, managing delivery and payment process. So completely they are a channel, they are a logistics company if you look in. That is the key activity. Now look at the key resources, local restaurants and shops, delivery providers, and technology. Now when we look at the value proposition is the business which gives them the revenue. Value proposition is the product or service which any organization can deliver. Food delivered with no restriction order policy, efficient online payment system, no minimum order requirement, different payment methods. This is the service, core service which they're delivering for what the customers are paying for what you and me are paying Swiggy for. Let's look at the customer relationship. Yes, 24/7 active customer support chat, social media pages. They are always in relationship, always communicating with the customers, supporting the customer. If there is a delay, if there is no stock available, or if the delivery is not done with reasons, there is a proper support given because the payment would have been done. So looking into the payments, looking into the delivery of products, trying to complete the service, that relationships are very important. Channels, what are the channels they're looking out for or they operate? They operate on mobile app, they have a website, they do digital marketing. That's how they reach. Now we have the customer segment. People who do not wish to go out to restaurants. These are the people who are sitting at home. You're watching an IPL match. You're watching and sitting here now for the webinar. You don't want to move out. You don't want to miss out. You're watching a movie or you're at home, it's raining or it's late night. That's where the customers need. These are the customers they are catering to. People who do not wish to go out to restaurants. People who want to order food online and want to get it delivered at home. People who want to buy and get other products delivered from nearby shops and stores. Now, this is the customer segment. This is the value proposition. That is where they are trying to match out. Cost structure, the payroll expenses for its employees and delivery partners, cost of applications and website development, running costs and maintenance charges, administrative, advertising and marketing costs, and a lot of other overheads need to be considered out. We have the revenue streams, which are like delivery charges, commissions, advertising, affiliate income, Swiggy access or whatever. You have subscriptions, Now, this is a typical business model canvas for all of us to understand because we use Swiggy. That's the reason I have taken this. Now, as we move forward, are the case study people ready? Should we take it now? Maz? Maz, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Can we take the case study people?
Sure, sir. I'll take now.
Are you there, doctor from Raichur?
Sir, joining now.
Yeah, sure. So if there is a delay, we will take later. Mr. Maz, is there a delay?
Yeah, it's a network issue for them. You can.
Yeah, let them get ready in the last. We will
Sure, sir.
proceed.
Okay.
Okay. Now let's look at the business plan canvas in detail. Now, what is the value proposition? What is the focus? What we are talking about? The whole business canvas has 9 elements. The first one is value propositions because that is our focus. Now, the focus is what are you solving? Is it a pain or a gain? Are you giving them a crocin medicine or are you giving a B complex medicine? Are you enhancing the energy or are you killing the pain? Please, we need to understand what is the problem and need which we are looking in for. What is the opportunity we are looking in for? Now, when we look at what is the focus, now what is the value proposition? What is the focus? What are we solving? Is it a pain or gain? We will be clearly able to identify what product or service we are delivering. What is the opportunity which is available for us to move ahead with business? Now, what are the options and solutions for this problem and need? For example, there is a requirement of quenching thirst. Now, the possibility for quenching thirst need is to quench my thirst. I have the opportunity of giving water, giving a juice, giving tea or coffee, giving a cola, giving a tender coconut. I have so many options to complete my need. Now, the options are an opportunity for me. Now, I need to look at what are the options and what are the solutions which we can deliver. The whole value proposition focus is like, what is the product or service we are doing it? Now, please, let's understand. We need to focus on the problem and need. and what is the opportunity and options and solutions. Technology does not matter to the customer. You deliver it in person, you deliver it through a robot, or you deliver it however you want. Customers don't care about technology you're using. Let me move to the next. Second one. Customer segments. Who are the customers? Who is going to pay for my product or service? Who are the payers? Which market you are catering to? Which customer you are catering to? Who are they? Whether they are executives, they are housewives, they are old people, or they are urban, or they are rural. Who are they? You need to identify the segment of who is going to use your product or service. Now, why they will be buying it? Is there a problem, a real problem, or a superficial problem? Why they are going to buy? Let's see. There are two types of products: critical, which may be life-saving, or which are on daily use, or it is a luxury, or it is a five-star luxury. Now, having a car, luxury car, is a five-star luxury. Having a bike is a necessity. So you need to understand there will be more sale of bikes than the super luxury cars. So why they are buying, you need to understand. Who are buying it, why they are buying it, and what they want to buy. What is the product they want to buy? Now, I don't want to buy any car or motorbike. I have a product called as service called as Ola or Uber. I may go with it. Now, there is one more question to be answered: where they're going to buy. Now, if I go into a remote village, I may not get a Ola or Uber. I may not get earphones. I need to take, if I take mobile, I need to understand, I need to go to outlet, or I can get it from Amazon or Flipkart. Where I am buying from, where the customer is buying, we need to be there. We as entrepreneurs or product or service providers, we need to be there. We need to give the right product what they want. Now, how many they can buy, the quantities. Now, this quantifying becomes a base for the production process, base for revenue calculation, base for the costing, base for the business plan. You need to understand what are the quantities the market wants. Now, what is the paying capacity? Now, paying capacity, probably there are mobile. If you take an example of mobiles, there are mobiles of 7,000. There are mobiles of 1.5 lakh. Now, which market segment we are targeting, and what is the pricing we need to place so that that specific customer segment can pay for it. Now, customer segment is a very important factor. Identifying the customer segment is half the problem solved. Because if you target a right product to the wrong customer, you don't get paid. If you have a wrong product to the right customer, the customer will not get back to you. So identifying customer segments is a very important factor. Now, the third, channel. Now, how do you reach this value proposition or the product or service? How do you take it to the customer? How will you reach your customer? In 90s, it was all physical logistics. We used to send it by courier. We used to send it by transportation. We used to go in person and deliver. But do you think we are doing it now? No. Technology has evolved in the past 20 years. From physical to virtual, and technology support is there. You need to understand, I just have to press a button on Dunzo so that someone comes, picks up my documents and delivers to my chartered accountant. Picks up my documents from home and delivers it to my office within the city. And if I have to deliver it, there are people who will come to my home, pick up the baggage and the luggage, whatever I am giving, then they will see that it will reach to that city. For example, we have movers and packers. For example, we have Flipkart, we have Amazon. I don't have to go to a bookstore to buy it, spending 20 kilometers if I'm in Bangalore. If I'm in Whitefield, I don't have to come to MT Road. I just need to use the technology, order it, and then get it from there. There is a delivery with us. So we have web-based applications now. We have mobile-based applications. We have delivery through logistics partners. Yes, we have even options of payment on the net, online, completely. Beyond that, we have after-sales service partners also who are ready to do the services for that product from my local area. We have such a distributed network of after-sales service, and there are partners for any company, any product locally available. It's not necessary that I buy a laptop in US and I don't get a service here. No, I get a service here. Now, today, the whole world and the channel is worldwide. So we need to identify the best options available at the least cost to reach the customers to reach our products to the customer. That's where channels are very important. Channels are a cost factor. Seeing that the product reaches the customer at a minimum cost is the game. The whole operations management is based on the channel management and controlling the cost of the channel. As we move on, yes, customer relationships are more important.
So shall I?
I think we'll run the video in the last. That's the better thing. We'll go ahead with the presentation. We'll run the video last. We'll run the video in the last, not to worry. Are we back? So where were we? We were in the customer relationship. Fine. Now, maintenance is the toughest job in customer relations. As we move forward, we have the fifth one, the revenue stream. Now, the revenue streams is the focus area. What we are doing, the value proposition, the customers, the channels, all the activities, what we are doing, the focus is money. Now, when we are very clear where the money is coming from. What are the revenue sources? What is the revenue model? This, whatever startup we do or whatever idea we have, we can commercialize and get it to the greater growth level within the shortest time. We need to identify multiple revenue streams from the product or services we are giving in. For example, Zomato is there. They deliver food, they deliver, if required, documents, they deliver even some groceries if required, they will deliver flowers if required, they will deliver anything which is listed with them. The revenue model is they are specializing in logistics. They are good in logistics. They have tie-up with the vendors and suppliers. They pick it up and deliver to the customer. Now, it may be they started with food. They have gone into documents now. They have gone into groceries now. They are going to deliver even medicine. Whatever you ask, whatever is listed with them, they are going to deliver it. How many revenue streams are possible? We need to identify that. Just because we start a product, it does not mean only product sales is important. As we move forward, we need to identify what are the other revenue streams which are possible. Now, when you start a product or service, is it a one-time or is it periodic? You need to understand that. Or after the sale is over, is it like, do we have spares and support services which are there, which are available? We need to identify that. In fact, in companies like all the Japanese companies, all the mobile companies, all the technology companies, all the automobile companies, if you want genuine spares and support services, the profit margin is huge for them compared to the cars what they sell. If someone is selling a bike as a Honda dealer, he may get 5,000 rupees as his profit margin. But maintenance cost of the two-wheeler, the spares which they sell and the services which they do from that customer, they make over a period of time, every year, thousands of rupees. Now, that is more important. We need to identify and put across all the revenue streams what we are looking in and what business we are getting in, what value proposition we are giving. Now, what is the value or price the customer is ready to pay? You need to match the customer segment with your product and see that the value or the price matches. As I said, a segment, if we are targeting at the grassroots level, we cannot have a premium product. And for the premium market, we cannot give a low quality product. Now, for the executive class, the products are completely different. So you need to match the customer with your product and service. That is your value proposition. Only then the customer will be ready to pay. Now, there are different ways of looking at the model when we move forward into the market. We have premium products, premium pricing which we can work on. We have demand-based products, and we have something called a skimming strategy. Skimming strategy is you have a new product, you price it little high than the other products, and you just collect as much profits as possible from the market. Because a new product, there are many people who get fascinated and buy. The same thing happens in the mobile industry. When they launch, for example, at 50,000. And as the time goes on, the price of 50,000 comes down to 30,000 or 25,000. By the end of 1 or 2 years, the product has come down to 30,000 from 50,000. But when they launched it, they completely skimmed the whole profit and the market segment. The customer segment, they pulled out their profit. Now, after that, what goes on? is like it goes on because they got the premium of the amount, they skimmed the market, the balance is maintenance of the markets and customer segment. Now let's look in, are we placing our product in a competitive manner where someone is having a product of 5,000, I'm placing it at 4,800, or I'm placing at 5,200 if I have two better features. I am into that sweet spot where I have exactly my competitive matrix and I'm moving forward with that exact pricing. Now there's something called as economy model. Economy model is like just the product with less of advanced features which can deliver your requirements. For example, you take a car. A Toyota car for the taxi is an economy model. The same Toyota car, if an individual is buying for him, then there are different features which we move forward. As we move forward to buy, there are different features. We have something called a fully loaded car, where we have touch screen, we have audio, we have sensors, we have cameras. So the market segment is different. The economy product then moves slowly from economy to competitive model pricing. From there, fully loaded, it will get into the premium structure. So the revenue streams have to be identified very clearly which segment we are catering to. Or is it a freemium? It's like free. For example, Paytm, you can download free. You can download your Google Pay free. But when you start using it, there is a service charge which will get it. Now, as you use, they make more money. You need to understand that. Now, there's something called as a discount pricing. Discount pricing is like, for example, Reliance comes out with Jio Fiber. They come out with a discount saying 1 month you can use at this cost or zero cost. If you are happy, then from the second month you can continue. So they are giving a discount for you to get addicted to the product. So you need to understand how many revenue streams are there around our value proposition. Now that's more important. What we do, we just launch the product, we get into selling the product, then we try to identify what other services we can give, what support value addition we can give. Those are the things when we are already in the market, we may not have time to plan. Now, this is the time during the planning stage, you need to plan your revenue stream. Be very clear, this is my primary revenue stream. This is my secondary revenue stream. This stream is like an optional for me. You need to identify the revenue stream. We have key resources as we move forward. Now, resources are like what comes into the making of value proposition, what comes into the organization. Now, where is the capital coming from? Where is the investment coming from? Where is the credit coming from? From where we are taking the bank loan? Are we taking loan from friends and relatives? Are we taking investment from friends and relatives? You need to come out and identify and make a note where the capital and investment and the loans are coming from. You need to be very clear about it. And how much you are taking, to what time, to what extent. Now, this what time and what extent, and then when can you return back, this will come when you have a clear business plan, when you have clear cash flows and fund flows. We'll be taking this into the next 2 sessions, the business plan construction. Fine. Now, you need to identify where you're getting the plant from, where the machinery is coming. where the machinery or the plant is getting manufactured, where the machinery is getting ready at another manufacturing unit for you to get that. Now, is it a Indian technology, indigenous, or is it a Taiwanese, or is it a German, or is it a Chinese? You need to understand what are the plants and machinery, and if you are into the manufacturing sector, please understand the quality and the return on investment of what you have to get depends on the cost and quality of the plant and machinery you are installing. So you need to be clear who are going to be your vendors. Now, what about the infrastructure and logistics? Do you need a manufacturing space? You need a space in an industrial area, or you need a space outside the city. For example, if you are establishing a LPG gas cylinder distribution, it has to be out, away, the godown has to be outside the city. Or do you require any logistics support for your product, where you need a godown, where you need proper roads to come in? Or if you're putting a manufacturing unit, you're putting your infrastructure, you need to have logistics where people come. There are metro which can come into, or the buses which can come in. Are we on the national highway for seeing that our products are reaching the port or the cities or to our customers? Now, logistics decisions for your future planning or future organization, you need to think and start working it now, where these resources are coming from. Now, further, if you are getting into technology space, or if you are getting into innovative products, you need to be very clear where the IP is coming from. That is the patent, intellectual property rights. Who is the inventor? What is the tie-up I'm going to have with him? What is the joint venture I'm going to have with him? What is the profit sharing I'm going to have with him? What is the license fee I'm going to have with him? This is very important when it comes to technology sector. A lot of us, we just pick up the technology and then we move ahead. Later, when we get multiple cases filed against us, then we try to change, but a huge market would have accepted our product, and the cost for pulling the product out will be very, very high. Now, people are important, skilled or non-skilled. Why a lot of people come to cities like Bangalore and Pune and Hyderabad for technology? Because we have a lot of engineering colleges. We have huge database available of skilled professionals. So people are really important. Now, who are the founders? Let's understand, as we move forward, one person cannot run the company. It has to be collaborative. I may be a technocrat. Don't land up doing everything. You will be running under loss if you are a technocrat trying to do marketing. If you are a technocrat trying to do operations. If you are a technocrat trying to do HR work, don't do it. Initially, small level up to a team of 10 or 15 or whatever, you may do little bit. But beyond that, you hire consultants if you cannot hire full-time people. You need to be very clear who are going to be your co-founders. If you are a technology professional, there needs to be a partner with you who can be a strategic guy, who can be a management guy, who can be a finance guy, who can be marketing guy. Just look in who are going to be your co-founders. Don't worry about giving some equity to them and some salary to them. Or there are co-founders who come just on some equity. And there are some co-founders who come not on full time, they may come on part time also. So you need to be very clear who are the founders and who are the co-founders, because based on the founders and co-founders is what the whole edifice of your organization is built. The whole investment comes from who the founders and co-founders are. Now, you also need to understand who are going to be the strategic leaders and management in your organization. As a founder, till the number of employees reaches probably 50, I may be good. But as we grow, I need to move on. I need to hire and bring in strategic leaders and management people. Please, this is the biggest mistake what we do. When an entrepreneur starts, he has the skill. But when he is scaling up, the skills are different. After the scaling up, when he is multiplying and growing into multiple locations, the skills are different. So please understand, we need at the right time strategic leaders and management people. These are very key resources. You need to plan when you're going for a business plan pitch or to VC funding. This is a key factor which they will look at. Founders, co-founders, strategic leaders, and management. And yes, you need to incorporate the cost of all the above resources. There is a cost of every resource, including yours. As a founder, you need not sacrifice. You may not be getting paid 10 lakhs. You may get paid 2 lakhs. But you have to apportion the fund what goes to you as a salary or a payout. All the costs have to be covered. Yes, let's move to the next. Key partner. What is expected from internal partners? You have partners. Your partners are founders and co-founders and your strategic team. What is expected from them? Someone to head technology, someone to head marketing, someone to head operations, someone to head R&D, someone to head customer relations. So you need to be very clear what is expected from internal partners. Then as you are very clear with the internal partners, move to the external partners and relationships. External partners and relationships can make or break organizations. Strategic alliances. For example, we have Flipkart. It makes strategic alliances with companies. And or are you making a joint venture? There is a technology company. They want to come into India. They don't know the operations. You tie up with them. You have a joint venture with them. Or you have resources and someone else has a capital, some other company. Both companies try to get together and create a joint venture. Now, you also need to understand there are partners in technology. For example, you have partners like Cisco, you have partners like IBM, you have partners like Microsoft in technology, which can manage, or Infosys or Wipro, which can manage whole of your ERP or MIS or whole of your technology. As you move bigger and you grow further in different geographies, you need technology support. You need marketing partners. You need to understand you cannot create your own collateral. You cannot create your own marketing videos. You need a partner who can work with you. There are agencies who will take you all through the branding activity. You need to also understand outsourcing partners. For example, in IT companies, we have if I have 100 team members working, In the 30 or 40 are on my roll. 60 to 70 are outsourced. These are the partners or vendors who come across as consultants and work in our organization. We are outsourcing our human resources. Or if I'm a manufacturing unit, I have a part to be made. I can't make everything. I have a precision part, then I outsource it to another manufacturing guy so that he does it under precision and I just plug it. Fine. You need to be very clear who are your suppliers and vendors. Suppliers and vendors are important because if you can take an example of big basket, the suppliers and vendors, you can have vegetable growers are there, groceries, product suppliers. You can see umpteen number of suppliers and vendors. You go to the same thing, you're manufacturing a Toyota car, then you have so many suppliers and vendors. Someone is doing a wheel, someone is doing a bush, someone is doing pistons. You have huge lot of suppliers and vendors. Supplier and vendor management is the key for quality. And it is the key for seeing that your costs come down. You need to have a very fantastic supplier and vendor management team. Now, above that, there are super experts, super specialized experts who are consultants and mentors. You may not be able to afford as a startup, but still you can take their services based on certain fees. It can be an annual fee or it can be per sitting or a meeting or a discussion fee. You need to see that you need to have proper partners who are consultants and mentors. Now, you also need to know who are the other key partners for you. Investors are your partners. Your bankers are your partners. The bankers can make or break your organization. The auditors, now auditors are the ones who can help you look into investments, who can help you to move forward, who can help you to bring in financial discipline. Now, you need to be very clear that partners is a very, 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 very important factor. Having proper relationship with internal and external partners is the game. We have key activities. Now, are we a product or a service organization? We need to ask this question. Now, activities are like, there are 101 activities which are there. We need to categorize as A, B, and C. A are the ones which 200% focus has to be put on that. B are the ones we have to see that on a day-to-day basis, we maintain it. C are the ones, activities we can outsource always, we need not do, it's an option. Now, we need to understand and identify which are the A factors, A group activities. Now, if we are a product company, our activities are R&D, technology, innovation, and sometimes outsourcing are a key. Because if a product is there, every year you need to come out with a new version, a technology product. We all are using mobiles and laptops. You can see every time there is a new file which comes out and tells update the software, updating the software. So R&D and technology and innovation are the key if you're a product company. If you're a manufacturing company, the desired quality is very important at competitive cost. And you need to have the proper infrastructure if you're in manufacturing. If you don't have the proper infrastructure, you may not be able to come out with desired quality and the cost cannot come down. If you are a services organization, customer delight and relationships are important. If I'm a travel agency, or if I'm giving counseling service, you need to be very clear that your relationships with your customers are very important. Your customer is happy, he is in a delight state, he will refer you back, he will come back. Relationships are very, very, very important. Now, consulting, probably there are consulting companies who are like PwC or like Deloitte. What are they looking at? They are specialists in consulting. They are super specialists. They have the clients. They are busy solving clients' problems. They are giving solutions to the problem. They are giving alternatives to the problems of their clients. So you need to identify the key activities. If you're a product or a service organization, if you're a product, what you need to focus. If you're in manufacturing, what you need to focus. If you're in services, what you need to focus. If you're in consulting, what is required to be focused. So in all the activities, group your activities as A, B, and C. Your key activities are from the A group. Let's move forward. The cost structure is the last, where the money is going in. All these activity of all the webinar series, what we are doing now is to see that your costs are under control. Because for any startup, every rupee is important. The more you save, the longer you can go. It's like water in the jungle. You just need to keep sipping whenever it is required. You can't just take the water and wash your face and put it on your head. When the water gets over, you'll not be having water when you're doing a trek or anything. So you need to be very, very, very cautious about the cost, about the money spent on these. Now you need to put in what are the fixed and variable costs. What is, for example, you're running a consulting firm, your fixed costs are your furniture or your technology or your gadgets which you put in. If you're a service organization, you need to further go ahead with all the basics. You need to maintain a website. You need to have a social media support team. These are your fixed costs which are there, which go on. If you are into the manufacturing, then your fixed costs are your factory or your machinery, and monthly salary which goes on, monthly fixed electricity which goes on, monthly rentals which goes on. These are the ones which are fixed. The variable cost depends on the products what you deliver or the services which are required on a temporary basis or can vary with the customer's requirement and the production process. Fixed costs are fixed. They are considered as capital expenditure. Variable costs vary with the people, with the customers, with the demand, with the market. There are different variants for variable costs. You need to come out with cost of manufacturing, whether it's the product or service. Then what are the working capital costs? On a monthly basis, what you need. You have fixed costs, you have variable costs, which come for the production, that is the value proposition. But to run the company on a monthly basis, you have marketing executives, you have HR, you have production to go on, you have inventory, you have logistic costs. All these come under working capital costs. As we go further in business plan, we will be dealing with all of these in detail. Economies of scale. What is the minimum order quantity? I can't put a huge manufacturing plant and then produce little. I need to have a break even. For that, I need to have a minimum order quantity. Now, investment opportunity cost. Please understand, lot of the next three what we are talking, lot of us, we oversee. investment opportunity costs are the ones where if I have to invest in this business, what is that return I'm going to get? Assuming I'm getting around 20%, if I invest the same amount or the funds in a mutual fund, I'm going to get 16 or 17%. If I'm going to invest and keep it in a bank as a deposit, I'll get 8 to 9%. Or if I'm buying gold and working on the stock market, I may get 24 to 25%. Or if I'm giving a product, I may get 30%. Or if I'm catering to certain services, I may get 40 to 50%. You need to understand whatever the investment is coming in, please calculate the opportunity cost. If you are getting a better return in some other activity, don't invest. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. Until unless there is substantial profit which is visible. If it is not feasible, don't invest. Cost of equity or investment or debt or loan. It's very important. Cost of own and outside investment. Lot of us, what we do is our own investments, we don't calculate. There's the cost of our own investment. Please start from the day one. There is something called as pre-operative costs. These pre-operative costs have to be noted down. Before we start a business, before we incorporate a company, start maintaining your account. What is the cost for you to come from there till start of the company? From the idea stage till the start of the company, till the commercial production starts. Let's move forward. Let's see what's feasibility. Why do we need feasibility? Is it feasible to do a business? As I spoke about, opportunity cost of the funds which you are investing has to be calculated. The same way, is it feasible to do this business? Please start thinking from there. Just to do business, don't get in. If you are choosing a wrong business, you are getting into a deep hole. You need to check the feasibility first. You're passionate to do something. You love cooking, you love food, you want to start a hotel. But if you choose a wrong location, you are dead. Check the feasibility to do business. Internal and external environmental factors. Is the government policy affecting this business in long term? Probably. For example, a lot of companies are there which burn tires and pull out oil and use it for usage as a third level oil in running machinery. There's oil extracted from the burning of tires. There are a lot of companies which have put, even they take old used oil and then filter it and then give. Now, Pollution Control Board has stopped giving permissions for these and have told within these many years you need to remove it. So if we have invested capital investment recently without looking into the government regulations, the return on investment is zero or negative. So you need to look at external factors. You need to look at internal factors. Are we using any patent, whether it's going to die or a new technology is going to come or an advanced technology is going to come? Am I producing a product at 2G level, 3G level, or at 5G level? I need to understand that. What is the value addition and profitability you need to see? Now, any organization, if you look in, the feasibility analysis has to be done at the organizational level, at the financial level, and at the market level. Now, tools of feasibility. We have many tools which are available for understanding feasibility. We have economics, that is the financial calculations which we do on return on investment, on profitability, on cost of the product. Technical feasibility, whether this product, when we bring in this technology, whether will this last for 2 or 3 years till we pull the return on investment, or within 6 months a new technology will come in, wherein the competitor will come with new technology and then our return on investment is questionable. Operational. Do we have enough people to operate, enough infrastructure to operate, enough logistics and road access to operate this business? If we are in a remote place, putting a huge infrastructure, we don't have proper access of people coming in, the cost of running these operations will go high. Usability, customer centric, whatever the product we are preparing or service we are coming out with, we need to be very clear that it has to be customer centric. That's where the design thinking is important. Of all that, return on investments is important. Profits is important. Don't start a startup just to do a startup. Don't start a business just to do a business. If the business or startup is not profitable, it is better don't do the business, just keep quiet. It's like 0 or 1. If you get into business, you have to be number 1. Otherwise, just be calm, be at 0, don't do anything. Money saved is money earned. Now, one more small tool which is very, 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 very widely used is SWOT analysis. The strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Please use a SWOT analysis for your product, for your customer, for your own self, for your own organization. Use this tool to have feasibility across for all the sectors, 360 degrees in the organization. Now, every product, market, individual has strengths which add value, has opportunities so that we can go into the market and then make some money. There are weaknesses. We have to overcome the weaknesses and convert them into strengths. The focus of entrepreneurs is to identify the weaknesses and convert into strengths. There are threats. Threats are there. Try to convert them into opportunities. It's a big challenge. Try to start writing down the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of your organization. Now, a small SWOT analysis of Samsung. Strengths, strong brand value of Samsung, innovation and design, high market share, diversified product line, financial stability. It's a financial rich organization. They have built brick by brick over decades. The brand is among the top 10 and top 20. They compete with the best of the best technology companies. Every 6 months, there is a new design and innovation happening. If you take the mobiles, they're next to Apple. They have a high market share. What are the weaknesses? There are a lot of fights going on, patent infringement, because technology, everyone wants to move forward. Some similar technology, someone has patented it, there is infringement, there is a case.
So it is that much.
Yeah. So the whole concept is to start something, it's easy. To stop something is easy. The toughest job is maintenance. To start a friendship, it's easy. To stop a friendship, it's easy. To maintain, it's tough. To get married, it's easy. To get a divorce, it's easy. Maintaining is tough job. Starting a startup is easy. Closing a startup is easy. Maintaining the startup is the toughest job. Same way, building a customer relationship is easy. Breaking a customer relationship is easy. Maintenance of the customer relationship is the toughest. So this was with respect to maintenance of customer relations. Safina ma'am, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here only.
There's another video to be run, ma.
Yes. I'll just do that.
Maz, are the
So
Raichur
we
people
can
ready?
continue. Meanwhile,
Yes, sir. We can take right, sir. Mr. Dr. Nadeem?
Hello. Yeah. Hello.
Yes, Mr. Nadeem. We're listening.
Yeah, please.
Can you slides?
I think I have a network problem. I'll just.
Hello.
I take the slides, sir.
You have shared the slides?
Yes.
Yeah,
Sir.
hello, Mas.
Yeah.
No, you have a problem, Dr. Nadeem?
No, slides are with Mas.
Maz,
Yes, I'm playing, sir.
share the screen.
Yeah.
दरवाजा बंद करो जी.
Doctor, you are not visible.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Abdullah Nadeem. I'm ophthalmologist by profession.
Can you keep your mobile stable?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, go ahead.
We as a group are working to create self-employment opportunities. This is how we happen to start sheep and goat farm, in which the NGO which we are working, I am the chief coordinator, and hence I'm presenting the our project. Fine. So for the past 8 months, we have started this form, and we would like to improve on this by taking guidance from MI in Jilani. Yeah, next slide, Mas. Yeah, model canvas, key partners. So we have first thing what we are is we are looking for the proper breeds, so that we can run our farm, in which key partners are fellow sheep farms who have pure breeds, and are willing to like who can sell those pure breeds to us. And the second key partners will be experts from the agriculture university, which would help us in running the farm in a scientific way. And third one is their health is important. To to be acquired, which are pure breeds, because in such cases, if the animal is of pure breed, then the chances of infection are less, and the weight gain and breeding and all other natural things are better in pure breeds than mixed cross breeds. Hence, we prefer pure breeds. Then sharing of techniques relating to the farming, sheep farming businesses, and the most important would be breeding, breeding of the animals in a scientific way. So, activity of partners uh, is finding of pure breeds which are suitable for our climate, and at the end point, when we want the assets to be sold, we need those to be accepted. Like in the region in where we are in Raichur, sheeps are in demand, but goats are not in that great demand. So in case we end up having more than required goats, uh, the investment and maintenance will of those goods will extract our financial resources. Further, for those goods which are not sold in our place, Raichur, they have a demand in nearby places. So, like in metropolitan cities and other places also. So, would like them to be uh, sold, or in other, wherever there is demand, we would like them to be transported there. So these responsibilities will be taken by different partners. This is how we want our partners with a well defined role. Next slide, Mas. So motivation for partnership is economy, because cost what we have is around 30 lakhs. So if one difficult for one person to invest, because most of us have our own jobs and other businesses, so completely changing would be difficult. So we are a group of 5 to 6 and would like to share the financial aspects, and this in turn reduces the risks and helps in optimum utilization of our time and finances, as well as sharing of our responsibilities. So key activities which we have identified are the distribution channels. As I said, that different breeds have demands in different markets, and we need to find markets which suit our breeds. And we should get in touch with the local markets and brokers who like purchase in bulk, and customer relationship need to be established with wholesale dealers in local market as well as other places, and one-time customers during festivals season, especially during Bakrids and Jatras. So revenue streams. So we would like to take support from government schemes, yeah, and better management to optimize revenues. We would like to bring down the cost of daily fodder, and by vaccinating animals decreases the finances on health issues, and we would like to work on time tested standard models. We would not like to experiment in our initial phases. Then breeding, which generates revenue, and this is the main source from which, after the initial investment, next cycles would depend purely on the number of uh, uh, successes we have had in breeding our animals. Yeah, key resources, physical resources, scientific housing of animals, in which the sheds are built in a scientific way, the direction east and west, so that they have optimal exposure to sunlight, and which in turns maintains the health and cleanliness of the shed along with the animals. So, and human resources experts for day-to-day activities, who can detect any changes in the behavior, especially uh, health ailments, at the early stage, and so that they can receive proper care. And experts for breeding and veterinary experts. Yeah, and financial resources are customers during festivals, and sale of sheep kids is a major revenue source, along with the sale of full grown animal during festival seasons. Yeah, value proposition for this project would be the price, uh, accessibility, convenience, and usability. Price, which is like routine market. Uh, if we are able to have it in a proper scientific manner, optimal utilization of sources, then we would like to pass on the price benefit to our customers also. Then accessibility, since most of the animals are breeded in surrounding villages, so especially during Bakrid, the accessibility, getting a proper animals which fits uh, the requirements is little cumbersome. This we can have it in a proper manner. Healthy animals. Then convenience and usability, which are like close to where the majority of the general population resides. Yeah, customer relationship. We want to build this by spread by words about the scientific management we would be doing, the health and quality of the animals, and through WhatsApp, Facebook, and friend circles, and online marketings and sales of pure breeds, which are um a few breeds are fancy animals, and they have a specific market. So those also, through online marketing and sales, we would have over this, and arranging farm visits and picnics for potential customers. Since our farm is located very close to a lake which has a scenic this thing, we would like that to utilize that opportunity to attract customers. Next one. Yeah, customer segment is a mass market and recurring like customers. So important cost activities are salaries of workers and veterinary doctors and consultants from agriculture university, and lease and rent of the land which we have for the farm activities, and the product is procuring of the product, that is sheep or goat, in the initial stages. In the next cycles, we would like to cut down that um, cost, which is the most expensive task. Next slide, please. So revenue streams is asset sale, and it is negotiable and subject to climatic influences. So the better we are able to manage this, the better would be the financial gains in this. And last but not the least, insurance of sheep and goats in government schemes. Yeah, thank you.
Dr. Nadim,
Yes, Ji.
you're there with us?
Yes, yes, sir.
I have prepared a SWOT analysis for you.
Yes.
Okay. This,
No, little less, sir.
how much?
Around 50%, 50 to 60.
50 to 60%. Still, it is better than
Yeah.
any other business.
Fine, sir.
Right. That is one. Next is, there's something uniqueness which you have brought in, like farm visits and picnics for the goat farm.
Yes,
I think the kids will love it, even the elders will love it. You need to get active on the social media.
yes,
You need to be active with a Facebook page of your goat farm
yes, sir.
and come out with some activities which will help you to substitute the revenues other than your sheep and goat farming.
Yes, fine, sir.
Fine. So you have a good opportunity of earning and increasing your revenue streams. Now, next is,
Yes,
please do not focus on Bakri, because every sheep and goat farming, most of the non-regular or the folks who are not from the agriculture background, they focus on Bakri.
yes,
Please don't do that. Get in like 365 days, you need to keep the markets open.
yes, definitely.
Okay. I think these are the inputs
Fine.
which I can
Yeah.
give you. So please rework on your business plan canvas. Look into this SWOT, SWOT analysis, what I have given here. Number 3,
Okay.
try to work on all the financials. Number 4, focus on your social media and picnics so that your revenue streams increase.
Yes.
Okay. I
Fine,
think this is
fine.
fine with you.
Fine, sir.
All the best, and thank you for being part of presenting the case study of yours. And is Safina ma'am there?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
And this video which I ran is for folks who keep asking, when should we start? Where should we start from? Is it the right time to start? This is the right time to start. You have to start getting in from 0 to 1. The game is just do it. And more of it, if you are starting the game, get into the game of domination of business. To dominate, you need to master your business. And it starts with do. So if we all are still sleeping, we are lazy, we need to wake up to see that our ideas come into reality. Our ideas convert revenues for us. Our ideas give value to the society. Let us come out with fantastic products and services. Just start doing things. Thank you, Safina. I'm open for Q&A. I think there were a lot of questions which have come around. Not able to hear you.
You're on mute.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. It was really a very great session. And by now, most of us have already understood like what is business and how do we need to structure and how do we need to set the roadmap and what is the importance of having a coaching and mentoring into our business. So with this, I would like to go ahead and start the question. There's one question: how do we find out a valuable and the trustworthy partners or the directors in today's world?
See, there's nothing called as a trustworthy partner in today's world. There is nothing called yesterday's world or tomorrow's world. Everyone are trustworthy. It is how we start interacting with them and build relationships with them. My request is, if you are looking out for partners, first take them as consultants, work with them for 6 months or 1 year, and just check if your synergy and their synergies match, if your thoughts and their thoughts match, if your objectives and their objectives and vision match, then you can slowly board them on the organization. You start with them as consultants, external or internal, check them for 6 months or 1 year, and then you can take them on board.
Okay, thank you, sir. I think that question has been answered for the person who asked. And the second question is for the startup, which is more important to focus on a capital intensive or a labor intensive?
See, if you are getting into, it depends on the product or service. If you are in service, it is labor intensive. Assuming you are starting a security service, you need, definitely it is labor intensive. Or if you are starting a manufacturing organization, then it is labor intensive and capital intensive, both. If you are starting a technology organization, then it is not labor intensive, it is more of technology intensive. So depending on the product or service, you can decide whether it is labor intensive or capital intensive. You need to decide. My request will be, don't get in immediately into capital intensive projects until and unless you don't have an expertise or experience in that domain. If you don't have an expertise or experience of minimum of 5 to 10 years, please don't get into capital intensive business.
All right, thank you, sir. So the next question is, what if we had a successful and a very profitable business model and it stopped because of the pandemic? What should we do to sit back, relax, wait for it, or a review back?
My request is, if your business has stopped because of the pandemic, the reason is you have not planned a backup plan, first backup and second backup, or rather you have not planned alternative revenue sources. My request is, please go back to the table and redo your business plan, come out with strategies and tasks wherein you can get back into the same domain or tweak your product or service and get ready for the post-pandemic. And
Okay.
this is the best opportunity for you to rebuild your organization now.
Okay. And he says that his business was event management business.
Event management business, there are events happening online.
Yes.
Fine. If I'm right, there was an event which happened in Sri Lanka, in Colombo airport.
Yes.
Inside the airport, there was an event which happened during the pandemic to raise funds. It was a musical show. And there were nearly 1,000 plus cars, each car having at least 4 to 5 inside them. So there were nearly thousands of audiences. They were there in the airport. Only thing is, you need to be creative when you are in events.
Okay, all right. And Brother Abdul Mukhit is asking, can I open my mic and speak? Yes, yes, you can unmute yourself and you can speak.
Assalamu alaikum. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yes, I agree that virtual events are happening, and there are a couple of live events that are happening around the world. See, my segment was completely into corporate, and we were handling conferences, product launches, award nights, gala dinners, etc. Right now in India, we've seen that people are being thrown out of their jobs left, right, center. I call up my client and I, give him a different idea, a unique event idea. He says, "Boss, I don't even know if I'm on my job role or right now." So then, it's should we do the calling to our clients? Should we still go propose, or should just sit back, wait, let the pandemic vaccine and all come back, and then start the event management business?
I would request maintain the relationship. This pandemic is a temporary thing. There is nothing permanent here. Once the vaccine, the so-called vaccine comes in, they will take the vaccine and people will come on the road and done. And they will be all free and open. And the world cannot stop the way people are talking. The world has to move on. You can sit at home until your resources get over, your bank balances get over. After that, what you're going to do? You have to come out. The lockdown is not the solution. Yes, we need to maintain some social distancing and hygiene until we get that proposed vaccine. The game is going to be bad. The game is not going to be the same what you or me are thinking, what the media is talking about. It's not going to stop. We are going to get back. But till then, if you are in events, please try to maintain relationships and try to be low profile. And also, if you have some overheads, try to see how less you can spend and what are the alternatives you can create. Probably because you are in events, you are in services. So you can move into corporate gifts because you have a relationship with the client. You can move into supporting the client if they are working from home, then you can give some technology support to them or some furniture rentals. Use your client and customer relationships to extend your services.
So you're trying to say the same clients try to give them another business model, like try to value add service. For example, if HDFC Bank, I have a bank account, they sell me a credit card and insurance and car loan. So you're trying to say with events, whatever else is related, like corporate gifts or anything, I try to add and sell them.
Right.
Yes.
Am I right?
Or try to take the events and give value proposition to your clients online, because customer relationship is a very important factor. Acquiring a customer is a challenge. When you have a customer and a client, retain it. Try to retain by giving alternative services so that he can remember you. And when he really needs your services, when the pandemic is over or the world opens up, he will get back to you 200%. Don't lose your relationship.
Inshallah.
Jilani
I think that gives a little clarity.
Jilani bhai, can we give him the example of various holidays?
Sir, I think we need to complete other questions, sir.
Okay.
All right. So thank you so much. And the next question is like, how do I register my company logo? Okay, and the trademark rights, how much does it cost and how much time does it take?
Trademark registrations take anywhere between 3 months to 1.5 years. It depends on the number of applications which are pending. But on an average, it will take 1 year. And for a trademark registration, it may anywhere be 15,000 to 30,000.
All right, thank you. And how can we check the business ideas we have is already exist or not?
No, business idea exists or not, that means you're talking about patenting it?
Okay, so the question what he's trying to ask is, how can we check the business ideas we have is already exist or not? Means the person who is already having a business, how do he check whether it exists in the market or not? Maybe he's talking about the research.
No, if it is research, I would request please do a patent check, catch hold of a patent attorney, or you can get in touch with us. We'll support you to identify whether this idea or patent exists or not, and whether this idea or patent is existing in India or abroad. We'll help you check that out.
Yes.
If this is a patent or a R&D product. If it is a general product or a service product, please go to Google and search.
Yeah. So I hope that question has been answered. And if we have a current account, do we have to pay the taxes for each and every transaction?
I think current account, each and every transaction you need not pay. There is certain maintenance fee which the banks will take from you on an annual basis.
Yes. Okay. All right. And as you mentioned that every business needs a coach, and I have started my business recently and I'm looking for a coach. So will MIA charge for coaching?
It depends on the level of coaching. You want a coaching at a minimum basis, we will work on it. You want on a, see, coaching is different. Mentoring is different. So if you want coaching, we will help you and we'll do a free coaching. If you want on a long-term basis, then obviously MIA will charge because the resources or the people which and time which are spent on mentoring are huge. And it will be a minimal thing. We can discuss that one-to-one based on the organization and technology.
Okay. I am from Saudi Arabia. I'm working in oil and gas industry wherein my job is very limited and I'm looking to start up something of my own. Will MIA help? And how do I become a member of MIA?
I would request Safina ma'am, whom you have put the question, she will help you to become a member of MIA. And after that, you can start preparing what business you want to do, what is your expertise, what is your background, what are your passion areas. Based on that, identify 3 or 4, and then you can see what to move ahead. Just be with us for the next 2 or 3 more seminars. You complete the whole business plan, and even I think we have a last branding session after the business plan construction session. Please be with us, and after that you can think how to go about. MIA will definitely help you.
Yeah. And do you think a website or an app is valuable for an online business other than the social media?
There's no choice. You don't have a choice. If you are an online business, you need to have it.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so that's all the questions that I have received, sir.
Okay. Any more questions for the day? If any more questions are there, you can raise. Otherwise, we will close. It's already 11.
Yes.
We have crossed 15 minutes of our scheduled time.
Yes. If the idea is good and new, do MIA will help in finance?
Yes, if your idea is good, if your business plan is good, if you personally are trying to do a startup and you have invested something, we will support you. MIA will support you in incubating and funding.
All right. Someone wanted to share something with me. Can they direct message me? Yes, Abdul Muqeed brother. They can message you directly in case if they want to avail any of your services or you want to get in touch with them. Thank you. So is there any other questions from the participants?
There's another question. For a
Yes,
startup, which is more important, planning along with implementation of pilot testing or plan first and then go for the pilot testing? Kaisi Anwar, founder, Conscious Synergetic.
I think Safina, you have missed some question. Please look into this. Can
Sir,
you
I
repeat this?
received maybe was that the question which you received on your direct message, sir?
No, no, it's for everyone. It is in the earlier messages. 1031. Just
Okay.
look at 1031.
One minute, I'm going.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry I missed that question. For a startup, which is more important, planning along with implementation of a pilot or a testing or a plan first and then go for the pilot testing? Regards, Kafi Anwar, founder of Conscious Strategic.
Planning is first, then go for pilot, then go for testing. Don't get into implementation without a plan or a pilot and testing. Because if you have not covered and de-risked your model, if you have not planned well, then you're wasting your valuable resources. Spend some time. I repeat again, if we need to chop a tree down and 1 hour is given, please sharpen your axe for 45 minutes and use 15 minutes to pull the tree down. Or in the other context, 80% planning and 20% execution. That is the game.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Please do let me know in case if I have missed out any questions. I request you to please post your question again, or we are good to go. I think we don't have any more questions now. So with this, I would like to thank all the participants who presented and gave your valuable time. And at the same time, and on behalf of entire MIA team, I would like to thank Mr. Jilani, sir, for conducting this amazing, yet another wonderful session and making us to have the mirror right in front of us. As an entrepreneur, how important it is to see the mirror so that we can build the right roadmaps. Thank you so much for having this session. And with this, I would like to thank all the participants once again for spending your valuable time and learning. If you have any questions, please get in touch with us. And also, again, as we mentioned in the WhatsApp group, the people who are attending all the 5 series will be receiving a digital certificate. And also there will be another surprises. So stay tuned and connect with us in case if you have any further questions. And yes, many of you have been requesting for the video recording. We will be sharing the video recordings as well in the group. Thank you so much.
Am I going to get a certificate also?
So you are the one who are supposed to give us a certificate.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a great weekend.